and that way you have access to it. But they're not made public, just so you know. You know, our conversations are our conversations. They're just for our little group here. Sound good?
Right. Good to me.
Okay, so I'm officially recording. Welcome to our second PDLC Zoom, and happy to have everybody here and looking bright and cheerful and warm on this cold winter day. We have a pretty full agenda, but not too full. We left time in this first section, still kind of warming up into the Zoom meetings and our time together. Just want to make sure that everybody is on track. I've been kind of tracking assignments and logins to Moodle, so I want to make sure we have some time to kind of talk about that, because it looks like maybe not everybody is able to get in or make time for that. So we can talk about what works and what we might need to do a little bit differently. All right. So the agenda looks like a little bit of a welcome, right, Kim? Is that?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, and I'm seeing all your lovely faces and thinking, I miss you guys. It was so fun to have you here on campus.
It was.
So great to see. I feel like I have a whole new pack of friends here. So welcome. And I think in the beginning we want to keep things fairly simple and warming up. Everybody's connecting. So I'm just thinking that we maybe talk about our favorite winter activities. It's been cold outside. It's been snowing in our area at least. So how would that be, Celeste? We didn't do that last time, right?
Oh, that sounds
okay,
good.
You're my brain. So I thought maybe we'd go down the list, and I don't have a set list. Yes, and then I write all over your list.
Well,
sorry.
wait a minute. I have another one.
You're fine. We can go with the list of on the list to the right of participants if we do it that way.
I think those change.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Changes, so.
Let's follow mine. So we'll. How about alphabetically, starting with last name of B for Brown? Could we do that and just maybe share a little bit about your favorite winter activities, whether it's inside, outside, whatever you like.
Sure. So I love to be outside even when it's cold. So I think that everybody kind of picks on me here in Madison because I walk. Even when it's like 1 degree outside, I still like walk around. I really enjoy that. But I'm thinking that now that I'm starting to feel a little bit healthier, that I'll pick up snowboarding again or skiing, just because maybe skiing this time. I feel like snowboarding probably isn't going that direction for me. But yeah, I just like being out in the snow. So I love the snow. I'm one of those people.
Sounds good. I am too. Thank you. How about Leland? How are things going with the baby?
Very good. She's actually sleeping through the night. Back to work, so everything's going well. So I might actually try to get her down here in a little bit. I might bring her so you guys can see her, depending on what her mood's like. But as far as outdoor activities, weird as it sounds, I enjoy snow blowing. I really like getting out and so.
It's like automatic production. I love to shovel.
It is. It's like a Zen activity. You know, you can see your progress, and it's like mowing the yard. You see your progress, and yeah, so.
And you're probably one that likes those clean lines and go back and sort of.
Exactly.
Sharpen up the.
That's exactly right.
Not weird at all. Not at all. Thanks, Leland. Is Janice on yet?
I don't think so.
Nope. Okay. How about Heidi? Heidi's there.
I'm a horseback rider, and I do that year-round, so that's my activity.
You ride outside, or do you have an arena?
Yep, I ride outside, but there's also an indoor arena where I have my horse, so, if it's really nasty or windy, I can ride in there. So.
Oh, lucky person. Sounds good. So thanks, Heidi, and we'll go to, is Sarah on? Don't think so. Hold on. No Sarah yet. Let's go to Jenny. Jenny, want to share your favorite winter activity?
Sure. So like Heidi, with the horses and everything, that's a year-round activity that I enjoy. I have miniatures, and I enjoy driving them. So in the winter, that's a little challenging. So what I'm kind of on the lookout for is a sleigh. So if anyone happens to see one in their travels, let me know.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the conditions are kind of perfect right now. So I really wish I had one, but still every day out in the barn and just enjoying the horses.
Oh, I love that. And I've always dreamed of a miniature horse also. I've got a nice dog yard and a doggy door, and the horse comes in, everybody said it was me. I do not have a horse in my house at the moment. Thanks, Jenny. Everybody on the lookout for a sleigh then. Sounds good. How about Ingrid? I saw Ingrid on early. Favorite winter activity? Ingrid, you seem like a snow-loving kind of person.
Oh, you're so wrong, Kim. I don't love the snow at all. I don't like to be cold, so my favorite winter activity is hibernating.
Oh, love it. How do you go about that?
You know what? With this job, it doesn't work real well.
I didn't think so, but staying warm somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds good too. Sitting by the fire. I love that.
Yep.
Great. Good.
Sarah's on as Tess Southern this morning, so.
Tess Southern. Is that your, or should we even ask?
No, she says it's a coworker's computer. So.
Okay. Thought maybe it was an alter ego. Is that what you call them? Sarah, do you have a moment then to share just a little welcome to everybody? And we're talking favorite winter activities. If you want to share that. Tess Southern.
Oh, she may be
Maybe
stuck.
still connecting
Yeah.
or frozen.
Yeah, I think frozen. Well, there you go. There's a favorite winter activity.
It is just being frozen. Sounds good. Well, we can jump to Carrie as Sarah's getting settled there. Hi, Carrie. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Not sure if you're on, but it's so great to see all the faces and connecting again from PDLC. I feel a new closeness to all of you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I would say I was more active in a previous pre-child life, and I liked to snowshoe and do animal tracking back then. And I would say that my current favorite winter activity is cooking.
Ah, there, you're in with Ingrid in the house.
Right now, yeah.
Not outdoor.
Maybe someday I'll be back outdoors, but
Yes. I definitely love cooking more in the winter or on nasty days than forget it in the summer. I just want to be outside.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carrie. Barb. Is Barb on?
It doesn't look like she's
Here yet either. Jemmy's here.
Working from home and the
It's
internet.
familiar to us. Oh, wait, I hear Barb.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, sorry, Jemmy, you're next. Barb, would you like to share, say hello? And
Darn. You can't hear me?
yep, we
can.
can.
Oh, okay. Sorry, today's my day off, so I'm working from home, and my internet's not very.
Oops. Not very. Barb, you cut off. I'm not sure if you can still hear us.
All right.
You're back.
You better skip me, and then I'm going to try to get a better internet connection.
Okay. You
Okay.
can always call in. Remember that. If that's better.
The phone is a little more reliable sometimes with sounds if the internet's sketchy. All right, we'll jump to Jemmy. How are you today, Jemmy?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Yeah, I'm well, thank you. You're in the winter wonderland as far as I'm concerned.
I am. I'm getting another foot of snow today. I'm like disgusted with it. But it's okay. What question are we supposed to be answering? I think I missed it.
Yeah, we're just asking if people want to share a favorite winter activity, whether it's inside or outside.
I think mucking stalls currently.
Mm.
Kind of keeps me warm, but it's still not like a favorite activity.
Not a favorite activity? It's a great
No,
work.
but you just get used to it, and it's just part of like a schedule.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. You need to hit those snowmobile trails out in Hamilton County.
No, I fall off snowmobiles. I can stay on a horse, but not a sled.
Okay. I say the sled's probably easier.
You'd think, but no.
Great. Thanks for sharing, Jemmy. How about Michelle? Good morning, Michelle. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Would you like to share your favorite winter activity?
Sure. So as can probably be expected, I spend a lot of time looking at feed catalogs and drawing up very expensive wish lists. not trying to talk myself down to reasonable levels. So I very much enjoy getting heritage seeds and seeing what I can grow and seeing what I can kill. So
very sweet. That's hard to talk yourself down. I do that sometimes in the store and just keep buying things. I'm not even going to plant a garden this year. I just like seeds.
I'm always looking for that magical spot that's going to give me that one better zone than I really have. So.
Yes. That's great. Thanks for sharing, Michelle. I have Kristen next on the list. There's a little tiny screen. So are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, you got the backlight going.
Yeah, so I have the window behind me and like my laptop here, so there. I'm trying to change that. All right.
There you go.
So I'm not a huge fan of winter. I used to love sledding. My dog would like drag me down too, so that was fun. Now I'm more of like a reader. I like reading. So
Snuggling in and staying warm. Not out in the snow, I assume.
no, and like I live in the town center, so it's really got to drive to get somewhere. So.
Yes. Yep. You can. That's great too. Thanks, Kristen.
Yep.
And Shayna's on. Shayna.
Yeah.
Hey, Shayna.
Hi, good
Hi,
morning.
Shayna, how are you?
Good. We it seems to be the PDLC routine thus far. My kids didn't have school today; it was canceled, so we did the drop off at grandma's this morning. So we're not getting a foot of snow like Jemmy, but I don't know, a few inches here. So apparently, no buses are riding. So, but I did go out this morning. I guess kind of like Craig, I'm that crazy person who's out every morning, whether it be walking the dogs or running the dogs. Full face mask gear. All you see are beady eyes and a bright yellow vest with a flashlight. So, yeah, that. And then when we can go out sleigh riding with the kids, we have a hill kind of right around the corner from us. So,
oh, nice.
Awesome. Hey, any tips for not falling on your can with all of the ice that's out there?
you can get little things, I call them yak tracks, to put on the bottom of your shoes.
Tell her what you called them this morning.
I called them moose tracks.
Oh,
Ice cream.
Yeah, you can get walking ones, running ones. They're really cool. Yep.
I'm glad I didn't have to share that you fell down.
Yeah, I did.
I've been holding it in.
Walking my dogs, because I'm also that crazy person always out walking with the dogs. They did not drag me down. I did that on my own, and they did help me up, so that was good.
That's great. Thanks, Shayna. Thanks for sharing. How about Hannah?
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Winter hikes are some of my favorites, especially when the trees are all pretty and snow covered. And now that my son is getting a little older, he's 7, we're thinking that it's time to get everybody set up with cross-country skis so we can get back into doing that again. We'd taken a little break from while the kiddo was little, but he can do it now.
Yeah, good plan.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with a rope around your waist if you have to do that. But I have fond memories of going out with my aunt and my mother and father. Even my father had skis, which he was very athletic, but not an outdoor. I guess he skated. So North Country he was, but it was always strange to see him doing that kind of family activity. We strapped him up and going down hills and things.
Nice.
Very fun. Great. Thanks, Hannah. Nicole?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Nicole.
I like to hike too, snowshoe, and I also like to downhill ski, although I have not done that at all, probably in the last 3 years. So, downhill skiing at least, but this conversation is kind of inspiring me.
This might be the winter.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a good segue into Mary Kate, who could take you out downhill skiing, probably.
Oh, there we go.
Not take you out, but go out with your downhill skiing.
Oh, I thought you meant she was going to knock you down on the hill. Morning, Mary Kate.
Good morning. No, I could rescue you if you fell down and hurt yourself on a hill. So I don't take anybody out, but I could take you in. Yeah, I right now spend a lot of time at Greek Peak, and I'm training for ski patrol. So that's what keeps me busy and helps me get through the winter.
Awesome.
We're definitely hearing some tales from last week, so I hope this isn't too much of an overlap. But just the winter around us. I thought it was a nice conversation. And who'd we miss, Celeste?
Eduardo was on. And
Eduardo. Good morning, Eduardo.
Good morning, everyone. I apologize that my camera's not up. I am finally in my new office.
Yay.
And if the camera were on, you would see the boxes that I am surrounded by. So I have to dig out my my camera. My favorite winter activity is going to Puerto Rico to get away from the winter. I am not a winter person at all. So my ideal activity during the winter is staying indoors as much as possible. But my family and I typically do get away during the holiday break, and we typically extend that break for about a week or a week and a half. So yeah, getting away to the Caribbean and being on a tropical beach is my favorite winter activity.
That does sound enticing. And you're not alone.
So that should be the place for the next PDLC retreat?
Absolutely. I'm all for it.
I don't know. We have a lot of winter lovers here. I take the beach over that too, I think.
Yeah.
During the winter.
Did you have anything
Great.
that you were going to share?
I had Barb, I think Barb Neal was going to connect again if she's on. Are you able to talk, Barb?
She added a chat.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, sorry. I'm working from home, so the internet's not great. I like cross-country skiing, but Eduardo, if you have another place, a cot or something in Puerto Rico, I could probably be persuaded.
We'll come
the
right
more the
along.
merrier.
Sounds good.
Oh,
and then we had Sarah Ficken too. Are you able to talk yet, Sarah?
Can you guys hear me?
We do. Thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, I'm logged in as Tess. I apologize. But I guess my favorite winter activity is to sit next to the wood stove and drink tea.
Love it.
Sounds good.
Good. Nice and relaxing. It is a time to slow down a little bit, I believe. So good to be out for some time and then get in and warm up by the stove with tea or whatever. Did we get everybody? Did I miss anyone? All right. Thank you all for sharing.
Excellent. All right. So just, kind of a wrap up from our last time together. We kind of hit up topics 1 through 4, the diversity and inclusion topics, and program assessing needs, beginning to look at ways of assessing needs and understanding how to develop objectives when we were all there together. And there's those topics that are in the Moodle that, the expectation is working through those as well. So that's kind of a summary of where we are right now. And as I mentioned, when we first got on, I've been kind of tracking how folks are doing in there. It looks like we need a little bit of time for catch up, so a little pause. So we have that time and the availability to do a little bit of that. We also at our meeting together started to develop or think through what would be some good teams to work together. We introduced the idea of working out loud, and I apologize, Jemmy and Leland, I haven't sent you notebooks and the book yet, but I will do that. The Working Out Loud book is just kind of a concept for, how you think through a new habit and a new idea, and keeping each other, the Working Out Loud circles is just the idea of keeping each other accountable. So our teams are intended to be that support system, accountability circles, people to ask questions of and kind of nudge each other to go in the right direction. So we'll take a look at all of that stuff today. Does that sound pretty good?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So with that, maybe we will just jump out to, let's see, our course. Okay. So everybody, are you looking at the page? All right. So let's just kind of take a pause here and ask if there's anything in here that you're not able to see, that just doesn't feel comfortable. I recognize that time is the essence. It's really hard to make the time for everything. and pull it in and get things done. The way that the course is set up, just kind of as a refresh, is any of these green check boxes that have a solid square are intended to help you be able to look through it. If it's very comfortable content, things that you're very familiar with, you can just go ahead and check that and indicate that you understand that content and you've been through. That allows you to get the badge, showing me that you've kind of worked your way through some resources and materials. It also helps you to keep track so that as you're going in, you know where you've left off and where to start up. The content that has dotted lines around it requires something. So the forums all require a little interaction, and when you open up any particular forum, it'll tell you what to do. And most of them ask for, in this case, post a response and respond to colleagues. And there's some timelines, there, because some people have asked for timelines. Other people have asked to not have timelines. So use it as you will, right? Really, our hope is that you kind of work through the materials, that you learn from one another. The whole idea of, one of the big ideas of the program development leadership cohort is peer-to-peer learning. So we don't have all the answers, but between us and amongst us, we have a lot of answers. So I just want to kind of encourage you to go back. Topic 1, almost everybody has worked their way through, and so you should see a badge that has appeared. It looks like from the back end, it looks to me like you should have a badge, and your badge should appear in the latest badge section. So I don't have my badge, but you should have yours. All right. And again, the ladder or the level up is really intended, if you click on ladder, to help you know which of your colleagues are spending a lot of time in here. And so if you have a question, Kristen or Hannah or Ingrid, Jenny, Michelle have all spent a fair amount of time in here. As somebody pointed out, I won't mention any names, Craig, but all you have to do really is click around in order to move up the ladder. But that's, it's the idea behind this, the reason why we put it out there is, 1, to help you know who to turn to if you need some questions answered, and 2, well, we have had PDLC cohorts in the past that enjoy getting themselves up to level number 10 and 11. So that's a little, we'll see in the end who feels that competitive pressure. But there you go. Let me get back into our course there. So what I usually have done is open up topics one at a time, and I think what I've done right now is left them open. So I did hear a little bit when we were together about feeling like this is an overwhelming amount of content, and I think part of the reason is because I'm showing you everything. So I can shut things down again if you think that makes you feel more comfortable. Just in the past, I've noticed that some people like to move, work ahead. So I don't know. It's a toss-up, I guess.
I would like it left open because I know the next 2 days I would be at home with kids, so I can do lots of homework.
Okay.
I can go get ahead or get caught up.
Yep. Yes. I think really the idea is that, don't feel all the content that you see is all the content right now. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So don't be overwhelmed, because we have 3 months together to work through this. And, we'll be talking about relevant content at our meetings. And in the next couple of weeks anyway, Kim and Eduardo and I will, what we did last year was we looked at breaking up the full list so that we're checking in individually with you to see if there's questions or, to help encourage you along as needed. All right. Okay, so I'm also seeing comment about, the flexibility. So, okay, we'll do. All right, any other thoughts or questions about Moodle and getting in or working through the content, or things that you would, wish that we were doing more of, or whatever? Good, bad, or
I have one question, but it's not directly related to Moodle.
Okay.
Is there a way to make documents more accessible, like the logic models? Because I know when I download them, I have to go and recreate them on my laptop so I can fill in. Though I've reached out to my IT person to get access to a program that will let me modify PDF documents. I don't know if anybody else has that issue, but I think maybe converting them to like a Word document just so they're more accessible.
Mm-hmm. So the PDF documents were in Moodle then, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they're in some of the links. Like if you go to the topic 2, and then like the ADDIE model is there, the blank Cornell Cooperative Extension, local program plan. And when you try to utilize them, you just can't go into the form and like add information.
Yeah.
I ended up making a version of it on Word document, and then I talked to my IT person to see if I could get a program that would let me. But I mean, it's just a matter of saving time, just because I don't have a lot of it, that if there's a resource available from the staff page or a link from Moodle, that I just be able to download it and then work on it and not have to try to create it or print it off and type stuff up and then create my own version to make it more legible.
Okay. So the things that are on our website have to be PDFs, or they requested that they're all PDFs. But we do have, I don't know if you can see up on your screen right now, there's a link to a box folder on the side, and we'll go back and I'll show you where that is. But in that box folder, there are a number of documents that are in Word, Word documents. When they can be, they're in Word documents so that you can, I prefer the same thing, I mean, I have a program that will take PDFs and makes them editable, but I prefer to have Word documents so that I can work with them. So to the best of our ability, we have done that. So you'll see the ADDIE framework is in here. There's a plan of work blank form if you're using the plan of work form, logic model. Those are all Word documents. So from the front page of PDLC, in the helpful links section, I'll kind of go through this process again. There's Cornell box folder files, PDLC share folders. If you click on that, it'll open up a folder called course content documents, and that is pretty much everything that's in your notebook. So handouts for topics 1 to 5 is in that first folder, and if in a perfect world, because they're living in like several different places right now, we have everything in here that's in your notebook, and they're by topic. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Some of those topic numbers may need to be adjusted because we adjusted the topics this year, but you'll see a number of Word documents in there. Is that helpful? Okay. If you are missing something, when you look at that and you are missing something that you would like to have in there, like I know, I'll make a note right now, I know what's not in there is the plan of work in a Word document, but I happen to have that. So I will add that in because, truthfully, if you are, what you could be doing is using the content in the plan of work as some of the base content for a proposal for funding, right? There's some language in there that might be very useful. So just, I can see just, taking a copy of that and plunking it into a document where you're working on a proposal would be very handy. And I've actually done that before. So I'll be sure to add the plan of work in Word to Box.
There's more suggestions here.
Okay.
On the chat. I can see take that. To put the due date on the topic line so you don't have to go back and forth on the syllabus.
Yeah, that is a thought. Again, the problem is that not everybody's ability to adhere to due dates is the same. And I really don't want you getting frustrated with what time you have and the due dates. Really, we want you to plug through the content. So that's my challenge with, and we've kind of gone back and forth on this through the development of PDLC these last 4 years. So we've tried to make it help you along, but I also more often than not, we have people that can't keep up and then go, oh, I'm way past, and that's not really the truth. This is all content that can be used no matter what you're doing and when you're doing it. So I don't want you to get too hung up on the due dates. So I would say keep your syllabus handy and help you plug along if we can.
Another comment there from Leland talking about the 1.5 hour videos and somehow marking them or annotating them.
Leland, what's 1.5 hours? Can you help me?
Is this when you go back maybe to the program development webinars? Yeah.
Yeah, so give me 1 second here and I'll, it's like on the modules. Let me bring them up. And I could just be doing it wrong. But so it says like under module 4, under watch, the video that's there, that's CCE PDC 104.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that is a long one.
The older one.
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half. And so I said, like, I carved out an hour and a half, and then, of course, when you're at work, like, you get a phone call, and then you get this, and your hour and a half turns into, like, 45 minutes or half an hour. And so.
Yes. So
and again, if that's asking a lot, so don't feel like it's anything. Like, I just kind of skimmed through it.
Yeah. So, so that is about assessing needs, like the big picture of assessing needs, and a lot of different ways of assessing needs. But we do have there is a 10-minute, like understanding demographics video short on here. So maybe that's the one that we should feature to give just a little bit more flexibility. I'll go back, and that's a great suggestion, because really that was the intent, was to give you a short something to watch rather than something that's, that's the big picture of assessing local needs. We had a guest presenter at that point in time, but I can switch that. Good suggestion. Craig, help me understand what your
license for Adobe Connect, Adobe.
Oh, I was just telling everybody, anybody in our position, so anybody that's on this can actually just request with IT a license for Adobe Acrobat. Some of us can get Creative Cloud as well, depending on what we do, but you just have to put in a ticket, and then they'll actually issue you a license, and then you just download Adobe Acrobat. They'll send you a code so you can use it, and then every year you just renew it. But you can put a request in with IT on main campus, like using the link I put in there, and then they'll forward it to your regional team IT, who will then approve it. So it's really quick. It took me about 2 days to get Adobe.
Yes, that's a great suggestion.
And you do that from here, not from your IT lead then?
You can do it either way. I just wasn't, we were in the middle of transitioning our IT, so
sure.
I wasn't getting anywhere, so I went to main campus and went the other way.
I see.
I have just a question for clarification, Craig. Is that for the full Adobe suite, or is it for a particular Adobe program?
So everybody can get Acrobat, but if you have a use for Creative Cloud, that's the entire suite. You just tell them what the use is, and they'll approve it generally.
Right. So yeah, the Acrobat should be easier. I know that with the rest of the programs, I have a couple of those programs that I use for the staff website, and they were asking for some of those licenses back.
Yeah.
So if you're not using, but I think for Acrobat, I think we should all be okay with Acrobat.
Yep.
And I don't know how to answer your question, Jemmy, is if it's possible to get an office license for everyone. I do think, at least here, those are individual.
For us to get that, yeah.
Those, so when we need any of those programs, it's an individual on your computer. It's a license on your computer. So that might be something your IT lead would know the answer to, them. All right. Anything else for the good of the whole on good suggestion on the PDC 104, assessing local needs. And as you saw from some folks, they had it playing, and they may have been doing something else and kind of tuning in, building again. I'm sure you heard me talk about building their peripheral knowledge, so you kind of get a sense of what's in there, what other things you might do to assess local needs. But there was a lot of information that we had already covered in that the handout on assessing local needs that just covers like different types of ways that you might assess needs. And on this link, it's a staff URL, but there's a lot of different instruments and resources, whether it's focus groups or community forums or internal scanning, SWOT analysis. There's examples of how you might do some of those things if you want to dive deeper, but it's really intended to help you. And again, checking that box, is a you thing. So watch as much as you need to and check it off. You can go ahead and do that before I change the video. That's absolutely fine to get you through. But it's good to know where the stumbling blocks might be. Okay. Anything else?
I think Craig also mentioned that you can get programs for your personal computer. If you go through Cornell IT, you can download at least the Microsoft Office suite, which is a nice
Just to let everybody know, it takes 2 seconds. If you go on Outlook, like your actual login for Outlook for a CCE on the web, you can click on your picture, and then your picture, it'll ask you your programs, and you can have 5 free licenses of Windows. So for personal or work use. Yeah.
Good.
Good to mention.
Good thoughts, right. Okay. And I see some VPN questions. So yes, if you don't have VPN, what can you, I'm just looking to see what you can you get out of your chat for just a second? This is a nice thing about both of us being in here.
I'm on it.
Okay. I don't know if I have a link here. Probably, yeah, here we go. There's a link to VPN right on the helpful links if you need that. Okay, so if you're having trouble getting to the staff site, that's what you need, VPN. And from your office, it's typically not a problem. Sometimes it is, but any place else, coffee shop, home, hotel when you're traveling, whatever, you are going to need VPN to get into the staff site.
Isn't it automatically there for us? It's like in the bottom right-hand corner, you click a little arrow thing and it pops up.
Somebody had to download it for you, though, Heidi.
I assumed that they did it for all extensions.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's always been on mine.
There you go. You are well taken care of, girl.
There you go. I appreciate that. But once it's there, it's always there. Once it's installed, it's easy to just pop it open.
Yeah. All right. So we were going to spend some time on some team building, but before we do that, 2 things. One, Eduardo, I just wanted to check in because I haven't had you've been in moving status, so I haven't wanted to bother you. Is there anything that you want to cover on the agenda today, specifically?
No, I want to just thank and appreciate everyone who's gone in and done the implicit association test. And also, again, as I mentioned when we were together 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, that yes, I want to affirm the challenges that folks found, and I really do appreciate people's feedback with regard to the research and where the research stands and all that. And I think what I want folks to walk away from this experience with, I certainly don't want people walking away feeling frustrated in any way. I want people walking away from this feeling as though they've had an opportunity to dig into something that they may not ordinarily be thinking about or working on. And so it's an opportunity to kind of step out of our comfort zone and examine a theme and topic that I'm not sure is getting covered anywhere else in our work. And so understanding that we all have implicit biases in our work, we have implicit biases that can detrimentally impact our work. I think it's a good starting point for us to begin to think about what we do, what we can do consciously to set the stage to limit or minimize the detrimental impact of implicit bias. And so if you haven't done it, I hope that you're not discouraged from doing it. And if you have done it, thank you for going through that process. And I will share one thing is that, and that is that for those of you who are close to campus and remain curious about the research, one of the researchers behind the intimately involved with the creation of the implicit association test will be on campus on Monday, February 11th. Mahzareen Banaji, she's one of the co-authors of Blind Spot, Hidden Biases of Good People, and she's going to be speaking on her latest book, which also examines implicit bias from 3:30 to 5. I can share this with folks over at Alice Statler Auditorium. So it might be a good opportunity for those of you who are interested specifically in the research behind it. You might even have an opportunity to connect with her and maybe ask some questions about the research in the implicit association test.
Okay, sounds good. Eduardo, maybe you can send something out through the announcements section of PDLC, just so everybody has the information.
All right, I'm going to try something new. Okay.
You can do this.
We got your back. It's okay.
All right, I will do that.
All right, it's 10:42. I'm going to suggest we take a quick stretch break in case you need a cup of coffee or, you know, a rest stop of any sort. And then let's come back at, let's say, 10:50, and we'll get ready for our breakout section. So we're going to actually use some breakout rooms, I'll give you some suggestions on how that all works. And then when we come back from that, maybe Hannah could lead us through a little bit of an energizer, and we can come back together. Sound good? So you have until 10:50 to do whatever you need to do. Okay? Can I get a little yes?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Waiting on me.
Oh, just checking in. All right, looks like we have everybody back. It's 10:50. All good. Let's see thumbnails.
All right, look who's here.
Oh my gosh, Leland, you got to do a little introduction here. This is a great way to
She's
bring
got the hiccups right now, so she's not very happy. Like the worst thing that happens to her in her life right now are hiccups. But that's
adorable.
Elliot.
She is beautiful.
Oh, and look at her little.
Oh, so sweet. I'm so glad that
She's in a better mood. Like I said, the hiccups are killing her right now.
Comes
That's
and
okay.
goes.
We don't care.
Yeah. I don't even
I wish
hear.
I could just look her right out of the computer. That's awesome. Thank you, Leland.
I'm gonna run her back up to her mom now.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, Kim, you want to talk about teams a little bit before as we get started?
Yes, I guess I just wanted to check in on working out loud circles to see if any people, any groups have had a chance to kind of get together, or if that structure has provided. I know we didn't give a lot of information, but we talked about it when we were all together. We talked about the 12-week idea and meeting once a week, just for an hour, kind of to check in to see how everybody's, so the groups could check with each other to see how their projects are progressing, maybe give some feedback. So I'm curious if any of the groups have had a chance to meet. It wasn't that long ago when we left, so it's possible that's not, or if you're actually on each other's calendars. So anything, how are things going, or does it feel impossible? Any success stories out there? Let's start with that.
We met this morning for our first meeting right before this call.
Good idea.
Yeah, figured we'd chunk the PDLC work and make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So
Great.
I think it was good. We were on the fly trying to figure out how much to follow the suggested working out loud agenda versus just checking in and keeping it more general. So we kind of did a hybrid and followed it where it seemed helpful and didn't worry too much about exact timing or exact structure.
Perfect.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
We're just trying to give you some options there, and as you can go through the whole idea of tuning into some blogs or a way to study, it's really individually how you might be exploring your topic a little more fully. But yeah, I think the structure, what works for you. That's great. I like that it was connected right in between.
Yes.
Since you're just full of ideas about PDLC just before that webinar anyway, so thanks for sharing. Any others had a chance to connect or use the system at all?
This is Barb. I'm the den mother of the Janet, Mary Kate, Sarah Ficken group, but the den mother was on vacation last week, so I haven't been able to get everybody together. Although I have to admit that, you know, when you're away from vacation, I was planning to get the doodle poll going so we could set up some times. And I literally have been filled out yesterday 4 different doodle polls for other meetings. So then I'm like, oh, geez, you know, you're kind of, you'll be double booking if everything ends up. But it's just, you know, the challenge of January when everybody's setting up meetings for the future. But I am planning to send the doodle poll out today.
Great. And that's a good reminder, Barb, also that we're asking that each of the group have one facilitator kind of leading the effort. Not that others can't prompt or question or ask or help, but good to have a den mother.
Yeah. And I started the book and I've enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting going through the examples and also the process piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have scribbles all over mine. And there's still more to read.
Yes, and so you know the book was sort of was an idea to try to add some structure to formalize this whole idea that we have been calling working out loud for a long time before really diving into the book itself, but the concept of talking about what you're learning, thinking about it, giving attribution to the people that are writing about things and they're working in things. So the book is a gift, really, and use it as you will. I have been personally reading through it and using it, and I mentioned this in jest, but this is the truth. My issue, or the thing that I'm working on personally, is getting up fresh and early, bright and early in the morning, and so I dug into like who writes about this stuff, and found that there's all kinds of people that write about getting up like early so you start your day and have time with your day. And then, so I've been working on this for the last I don't know, 3 weeks, I guess. I've been getting up at 5, which is probably no big deal to some of you, but to my family, they would know this is a big deal, right? My goal was to not feel rushed out of the house in the morning, and to have my time to think and to process and to plan fresh and early first thing. And I have my accountability group. I picked a few people that I could tell about this and tell them what I'm learning. And it's really kind of a nice process. But as we said, use it as it works with your team. We're actually going to try something to give your teams a little bit of time here next. I don't know if everybody here has used breakout rooms in Zoom, but that is something that we can do. So I'm going to push a little button in the next couple of minutes and ask your team to check in about the work that you've done for topics 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you need to check in about setting a time for your group to connect or whatever, you can do that as well. But I have a little matrix in front of me about how folks are processing through, and if you can, as a team, figure out what's working, what isn't. Some of the suggestions that came in were fantastic, and I saw a message that came in when we were on break about Box. So it sounds like not everybody has access to the Box folder. I will figure that out. It's good to know. Thank you for letting me know. And one of the other things that we will put in Box is a folder, a file for each of you, so that you can, as you're working on your project, you can put things in there. So if I need to look at them and review them, you have a place where you can keep the full thing, not just an assignment. So that will show up, and I'll let you know about that through announcements. But yeah, so I'm going to open up the rooms, and then you're going to have 10 minutes to kind of check in with each other about topics 1 through 4, how it's going, what works to get yourselves through, because you're progressing at different rates, but it looks like people are progressing. You can look at the badges that you have as a, kind of a sign of, did you get done what needed to be done? And if you don't have a badge, but you think you've done the work, then that's something else that we need to talk about, because we can figure out how to make that work. Sometimes people may not have checked a certain, whatever, a box or a link or responded to somebody. And once you get in the groove, it's easy to make that all happen. Does that sound all clear as mud? Does it sound clear? Do you understand what we're going to do? I'll push the button. You have 10 minutes, and then we'll come back together and kind of reflect a little bit, and then take a stretch. Okay? All right. Here we go. This is like Genie World. You're going to hear ding, 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 ding.
Ahead of time.
Yeah, you're all set up so that you will be, if it's all right, in your groups. Here we go. There we go.
Scary.
I know. All right. There we go.
Practice this.
Eduardo, they are all in their groups right now, except the 3 of us. Are you there?
We get Eduardo.
Yeah. How many of how long are they in? How long are they in for?
10 minutes.
10 minutes, and then do they get some kind of? They get a countdown. Is it just the last minute?
It's whenever I send them the message, I can give them a countdown. Let me set my timer so I don't forget them.
I got it. 10.
Okay. Yeah, 10 minutes. It's good to have a backup.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. How are you, Eduardo?
I'm good. I think I'm feeling somewhat overwhelmed, because there's a lot of email and a lot of things that are going on that have continued to go on in the midst of this. And I've been on the road. I've been on the road since I got back from Puerto Rico. So I was in Ithaca, then I was in Albany, then I was in Penn and now I'm getting ready to head out for the Opening Doors Facilitator Retreat, which is happening locally, but that's going to keep me out of the office for tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. And so I just feel like I have not been able to catch my breath. So, and I know that we've got the conference, the systems conference, which I have not responded to for each cohort. I've not responded to a couple of messages. I've got everyone's wanting something from me in some way or fashion, and I just need to sit down and be able to do it. I think that because the office is so close now, I might be able to do a Saturday. Actually, it would be a Sunday because Saturday is my Amelia Day. My St. Julie's works on Saturday, so it's when Amelia and I get to spend time with each other.
Yeah.
She's got ballet in the morning, and then we just figure out what to do. It usually involves things I shouldn't be doing, like junk food.
Oh no. That's okay. That's all right.
Then I have to explain to Mom why.
I know, because you can't expect your person to keep that a secret, right?
Right. So yeah. So it's a great space. I think so far it's working out. I've not been in it that much, but yesterday I was in here and I was on a call, a Zoom call, and Jackie was in at the same time, and it seemed to work okay. I asked her if she was inconvenienced or not able to do the work she wanted to do in any way, and she said not at all. So.
Oh, that would be tough in the same office, and right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well, I've been trying to lay off of sending you too much. Just, you know, I mean, I am certainly been mindful of your crunch of a move and everything else. So, and don't respond to that first system conference thing, because I'm going to send you a second one here.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. I could use the time. Certainly. Yep. And then I'm supposed to meet up with Escadar. Escadar is going to stop by. I probably should let her know that we're not on 34th Street anymore. Although I think I did. I did let her know that we weren't. Because I think I did let her know.
You know, I didn't even think about our org development team meetings. I assume she's not going to be part of those. I didn't.
Well, that's a good question. I'm not. I think she's really. But yeah, I'm just thinking. I don't really know. I didn't ask her that one when we talked.
I think it's specific to strategic plans still.
Right.
She's always welcome. I hope she knows that.
Yeah.
I did have a brief meeting with her about the dissemination team, I guess, just kind of catching up. So it was good to see her. But you get to see her in person. That's exciting.
Yeah, I get to see her in person, but it's going to be like a quick check-in because we're having some type of staff meeting today to talk about the layout and the space. Space is wonderful. It's beautiful. It's actually, I'll give you a virtual tour next time.
I'll use see boxes today.
And then actually, you know, I think I'll try and dig up my webcam between this meeting and the next one so that we can actually see each other. But the space is great. It's all new. We're the first occupants, and it's built to our whoever does real estate for Cornell, their specifications. But it is a wonderful space.
And there's like 7 or 10 desks, did you say?
No, I'm not in the Manhattan office. I opted out of that because that was like one of those your desk was not your desk.
Right.
Situations.
So you and Jackie have that.
Yeah. Right. So we are so Jackie and I, we're both in the Bronx where we have an office, an actual office. Yeah.
With a door.
Office with a door that we can close.
But no place to take your own Zoom.
Yeah. Well, and I think all of that will be worked out. I think we have enough space that we can do all that sort of, you know, kind of figuring out and reconfiguring as we have to.
Mm-hmm.
So, how are you two doing?
Been hectic.
Well, you've been on the road too. I mean, I saw you last week in Albany.
But I didn't have to go to Penn Yan after that. So.
Yeah.
And I'm not heading out anywhere too soon. Did you say you were signed up for the opioid training? And
I am. I'll be in Syracuse. I'm actually, and I'm learning to just do things and then ask for forgiveness. I think I'm going to fly to Syracuse because it's about the same as renting a car. And
good idea.
Get me there and back home in a reasonable amount of time. So
yeah, good idea. When you coming in then?
I would come in that Monday, the 11th.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
And I think we're staying up there Tuesday. We're coming up Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
We have PDLC actually that morning.
Oh, what time does the program start on? Doesn't the program start on Tuesday?
It's early. It's like an 8:30 or a 9.
Yeah.
We told Adam that we had to step out, so we'll probably do that from Syracuse. I think that's our
Yeah.
plan.
That's the plan.
All right.
Just because it was, it's hard enough to get everybody's schedule.
Right. So then I'll have to figure out.
You can, Eduardo, no pressure, right? So you can, and it might make sense that that at least one of us is represented.
I'll fill you in, right?
Yeah. Yes, you can tell us all the wonderful things that we missed. And
All right. Well, I have to dig that information up so that I have a
first
sense.
day is really awesome, but
All right.
Anyway, it just felt like this was a way to make up both things.
Sure.
Both things
Sure.
work.
Well, that means
Yeah.
we'll have
So
Tuesday
good.
night if we
Yeah.
stay up there then.
Yes.
Well, if you do that, then I think what I'll do is I usually rent a car, but if you're all coming up, maybe I won't need to rent a car.
Oh, yeah.
But we are not coming up until Tuesday. I don't know if you're coming in on Monday.
I wonder if they do. Well, I'll find out. Some places do you can do like a one-way. I'll have to figure out what the cost of a cab if the hotel does not have a shuttle from the airport.
You could get an Uber probably pretty cheap.
Yeah. So I'll definitely, I'll do that. So. Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
Togetherness.
Well, good. I'm excited. We'll be able to see each other on Tuesday night then.
Tuesday night. Yep.
And I was just looking through the system conference piece. I think there's 4 or 5. There might be 4 or 5 different
diversity themes
that were submitted. 2 from Margot Hittleman.
Oh, good.
That although I think we
One,
might
I
have
think.
put one in the leadership category.
I think so too.
What I'm thinking is we can move things around and not worry about doing a lot of recruiting. We've got a lot of org development on the list. 2 or 3 leadership. I haven't counted. You probably looked closer.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
just going in and
I guess I'm
tagging
just thinking
things.
that you won't have to do additional recruiting. So wait until I send you something tomorrow or
Okay.
yeah, probably tomorrow. And then you can see if there's any choices to be made or, if you feel like there's still a big gap and you need to recruit something else, but might be easier than if you took a look early on, you may have been like,
more have come
that's
in.
like what I was.
Okay, good.
Like,
Thank
oh my
you for that. Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
So sometimes it's better to wait until things
Put it off for
work.
a little.
Yeah, but I did do a lot of arm twisting and hand recruiting because the program section is big and I didn't have a ton of applicants, but
looks good now.
Yeah, it looks good now.
Also, if there's something you wanted to add in, there's still.
Yeah, I need to submit my proposal.
Okay,
good. I have to put a couple in today too.
Yeah.
Very
All right.
good. And then we meet with Sarah at. Want to give a warning? You have to teach me this. Look at that.
Warning.
And Sarah's going to meet with us at noon, from noon to 1. And then we've got till 1:30 if we want that.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Look at that. We got part of our agenda done. That's good stuff. All right. 37 seconds. Oh, Eduardo, the other thing I wanted to share is students started here. So we did end up hiring Neno, who has an interest in diversity and inclusion work. I've got plenty for her to do right now, but when you are ready and have some things that you want to send her way, just give me a heads up and I'll do a little email introduction, or you guys can Zoom and meet each other and decide how to work from there. Okay?
Okay.
There we go.
Is that it?
Here we are.
That's it.
I'm going to close the rooms. Oh, okay. And it does give 57 seconds for them too. So they have an extra minute. So it's a 1 minute for them to be zapped back in. That's okay. 2 minutes sometimes is enough. Oh, here they come. All right. And they're back.
Fantastic.
How'd it go? Did you find each other in the breakout room?
Yeah, it was my first time using it. It was great.
Yeah. Nice. It's a way to do small groups, right? Even though we're virtual.
Yeah. And we had met before, so I don't know. Are you waiting for, we'll wait for everybody to come back because we just had a couple questions, comments.
Yes. Yep. And so Shayna, after we do a little reflection on this piece, would you do a stretch with us?
Sure. We can do a walking in a winter wonderland.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right.
We can
Yes,
think
I
about
love
all the
your
things.
inspiration wall, by the way. It's like something like that's great.
Yeah, I'll let my mom know about that. There's many of those things she supplied in the background.
Nice.
Super sweet. I have a big old house she could come and help with. If
I'll let her know. I'll pass the
New
message.
York, I really could use some help in that territory.
Oh, your house is beautiful.
Oh no, it really, yeah.
It is.
I am not a decorator, but I love things that are nicely decorated. Okay, let's see. Do we have everybody? I think we do. All right, I'm going to close our breakout room.
Hey, Celeste.
There. Yes.
Hannah's audio broke when she shifted over to the breakout room. It might be worth checking to see if the other groups had any problems like that.
Oh. Hannah, can you talk now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. Yep.
So when we switched to the breakout room, my video stopped, but I could restart it, but then it wouldn't let my computer audio continue. So I dialed in my phone temporarily, and then when we switched back, it let me resume with my computer audio, but it was weird.
That is weird, but you got a workaround?
Yeah, it was like the computer audio went away as an option, which
okay.
Strange.
Huh. That's new.
Yeah, I haven't heard that happening.
All right. In general, how was everybody else's breakout experience?
It was great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good? All right.
That's good.
Mine was outstanding.
You must have a really great team, Eduardo. Mine too.
All right. So now we're going to go group by group and just ask for a little bit of feedback for topics 1 through 4. And if you had any tips or suggestions that you want to share with others on, like plugging through the work or anything else that you came up with that you'd like to share. So if you don't mind, I'm going to take the Carrie, Jemmy, Hannah, Nicole team and ask you to go first.
I can jump in unless someone else wants to. I was a little distracted by the audio issue, so feel free to fill in anything that I missed at the beginning. But yeah, well, we had just spoken this morning before the larger group call, so we'd kind of already done some project check-ins, and so this was a nice corollary to that. And I think overall we are feeling good about where things are at. I think most of us are running into the challenge of how much to engage with topics, especially those that don't necessarily feel like they're resonating with what we need to be focusing on for our projects right now. So there was kind of a general feeling of like, yes, we need to focus in on the parts that are helpful, and also just a recognition that that's going to be different for everybody.
Yep.
And I guess I'm not going to get too specific. I'll let people share their own specifics if they want to. But yeah.
Yep.
I think that's the overview.
Sounds good. Anybody else from that team that wants to share anything more?
It was really helpful that Hannah's our team leader, and she reached out and we kind of just set up a standing meeting, and that was really helpful to get the ball rolling and like get it going.
Oh, that's great. And good to give kudos to the team leader.
That's right.
The brave team leader.
But yeah, we wanted to avoid trying to find a new time each week and getting in a vortex of scheduling confusion. So we're going to try to keep it simple and see how that goes.
And you're right before PDLC, right?
Yeah.
That's great. And I think it's good also, Hannah, that you talked about that your small group meetings usually are going to be those project check-ins. How are you doing with your separate life that you may not know more about, but the Moodle check-ins, a little different thing today. So I think it is it could be something you cover in your small group meetings, but yeah, nice to kind of differentiate the two.
All right. How about Sarah and Mary Kate and Barb?
All right, as den leader, we didn't actually talk about what we had already done. We talked about scheduling for the future.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be, we're going to try to have the hour, 45-minute check-ins, but we're also going to try to have, because we're not that far apart geographically, and we're all sort of in the same business, we're going to try to have a full day like drive around field trip, which I think will be great and super useful. And so I think we're both kind of excited about, like Sarah's already helping me with the plane community, and I think Mary Kate will be able to really help Sarah with dairy transitions. So, and Janice has obviously got long experience in dairy and field crops. So I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent.
Nice connections there, for sure.
Definitely.
How about Craig, Leland, Heidi, Ingrid, and Kristen?
So I'm Craig, the den mother for our group.
Den leader, I guess is.
I like den mother. Please.
I like den mother too.
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
So we were talking a little bit. We were trying to figure out, I shouldn't ask this right now, where and what we should be reading in the book, Working Out Loud, because we all haven't yet began it. So we want to get started on that, and we just want clarification on that. Our first meeting was scheduled when we left, but it's for tomorrow. So we're not meeting until tomorrow, but we're excited to see each other then. And then realistically, we were just talking about the challenges with just trying to actually get started with the programming, because right now we find ourselves struggling to just get into the timing to complete the homework assignments. So we're just getting back into work, and having those 2 days off to go up to Cornell was great, but then that 2 days like stacked on top of everything else. So we're just trying to get our weight off and push through.
Sure. Sounds good. So to answer that question, part 3 is kind of what we suggested. Like, you can read the whole book, but if there's a time crunch and you're looking for some guidance, Hannah had suggested the Working Out Loud website as being helpful. There's and I will also share. I have a little icon that's a little visual that's kind of helpful and just kind of wrapping your head around. But part 3 of the book is your own guided mastery program, it's called.
What page is that? Oh,
It's
between pages.
page 101. It doesn't have a page number on it because it's in
After
between,
page
right?
100.
But page 103 is the first chapter within that. It's new habits and a new mindset in 12 weeks, right? And it's intended for you to think through a chapter a week and just kind of build on the thoughts in there. There's exercises in the book with something you can do in less than a minute and something that you can do in less than 5 minutes. If it works, great. As we have said, if it's not something, if it's better for you to just check in on your projects, that's okay too. But the whole idea of using program development models is a new habit for some people. So that's why we were like, okay, well, this thought process can really might be useful, right? So you're always like looking back at the program development model. How are you applying that? How are you building this new habit? And so checking in with your colleagues on this might be useful. That sound good? Helpful? Okay. All right. Anybody else from our 5-person team? Okay. So Shayna, Jenny, and Michelle are our last team.
So we kind of discussed a few things in our regular group. We had talked yesterday, and thanks to Michelle's coordinating abilities, she's got us on the calendar. We're meeting kind of every other week. So when we don't have PDLC, we'll meet. We have a schedule that following week or whatever. So we're all done thanks to that scheduling. We did talk a bit about the implicit bias test and kind of thought about, how reliable is it, and reading through some of the folks' kind of frustrations with the test, and had some questions about, I know I was saying I've heard it mentioned, gosh, in the past couple of years, 4 or 5 different times, and kind of maybe, later getting some insight from you, Eduardo, as to really how are folks using it, because it's definitely, I think Michelle used the quote as like people are looking at it as a diagnostic tool. And really that doesn't seem to be appropriate. It's just more of a conversation starter. So that was kind of one thing that we had talked about. We also were shared with the TED Talk. I think it was bringing authentication to work. and to look at that, because that's a great video. And I think some people had already shared that in the chat saying that they enjoyed that. So Virginia and I were going to try and do that. And then I think the last thing that we had talked about was more of kind of having benchmarks along the way as far as this project. It's kind of solid things that either you want to see or some things that you would suggest, whether it's having the ADDIE model kind of filled in, having a list of needs assessments, just more concrete steps for some of us who are a little more, like a little more structure, still having the flexibility, but just some concrete steps to try to get there, so that we know at the end when we do the kind of final project that we're at least moving in the right direction.
Okay, that's helpful to know. So is that something that you would like from us?
Yeah, you had said, I think, putting some stuff in like the box system, and I was kind of like, well, what would we put in there? I don't really know
Right.
what
So
it would
what I
be.
would put, yes, and I will start that out. What I'll put in there is based on what you had indicated, what model you want to use. I'll put a blank model in there,
okay.
So you can kind of drop in your content as you're working on it. So what the course, the Moodle course will do is, focus in on needs assessment, focus in on objectives, but that one pager, the model, is going to ask you, what did you do to assess your needs, and what are the needs for your project? So then you click that, you fill that part in, you fill in what your objectives are. So that's kind of your summation piece is all in there, but we can also put a checklist in there to help you navigate your way through that. That's part of what the intent of the badges are, to help you kind of progress along. But I understand exactly what you're saying. Like individually for your project, you kind of want to know where you are on that. So that's really good feedback. Okay, anything else? Thank you, Shayna. All right, and with that, Shayna, do you want to just help us stretch for just a moment here before we go on to our final segment of our call this morning?
Sure. So I'm pretty sure it's snowing in everyone's area, some shape or form. Maybe, Kristen, maybe you have rain or you have snow down in Rockland. Okay. So I thought maybe we can take a walk and kind of pretend that we are going outside. We just finished our meeting. We're going to go out in the snow. So we're going to push away from your chair, if you would. This is something we like to do with kids and adults, just to say, well, how would you get ready? So if you actually want to unmute yourself, that would be wonderful. You're going to help us get ready to go out and help us by kind of saying what you would do. So I'll start. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to walk in place. I'm walking over to get my warm wool socks, and I'm going to go ahead and put them on. So I'm going to bend on over, reach towards my feet, put one sock on, put the other sock on. All right. What's next?
I'm not going out without my thick woolly scarf. So
you got to put a scarf around. So let's do one wrap, and then you got the other side around for the other wrap. Get those arms moving. Nice. Good. Was that Ingrid?
Yep.
Nice. All right. Well, we got our scarf. We have socks, and we have other clothes on. We'll assume we're all clothed elsewhere. Okay. All right. What else? You got?
I need my earmuffs. I need my earmuffs.
Oh, earmuffs. So we can almost do like a little raise the roof. We have ginormous earmuffs on. We'll put them on our ears. Excellent. All right. What else do we need?
Muck boots.
Oh, boots. We're going down and touch our toes, and don't forget to tie them when you get them on. Oh, muck boots. Well, you don't need to really tie those.
That's the wonder of the muck boots.
You gotta lift that leg up and out to pull them on. Good. All right, we got boots, we got socks, we got earmuffs, we got scarves. What else?
Jacket.
Jacket. Oh, so let's get like one arm in. Oh, stretch it out to one side of the wall. Reach behind you.
Never thought of it
the
that
other
way.
one. Good. Don't forget to go down to up and zip it up, almost like you're doing an upright row. Very nice. Pop your collar so you're all nice and cozy. Excellent. What else do we have?
Gloves.
Gloves. Oh, stretch out in the front. Put that glove on nice and tight. Make sure it goes under your coat. You don't want snow in your hands, right? Good.
Dummy string.
They're long gloves.
What?
These are long gloves.
Oh, long gloves. Yes. We have long arms here, didn't you know? We're actually going to a fancy event after this. This is a formal glove. All right, what else do we have? You're still marching in place through all this, don't forget.
Hats.
Hats, yes, put your hat on. Again, work on pulling down. You can squeeze your shoulder blades back, get that good posture. We got multiple hats because you know it's freezing out right now. Okay, and then anything else?
No.
No. Well, no, you have to walk outside. So just the last thing we're going to do when you walk, if you're walking now, kind of little baby steps, I want you to just do 10 high knees. So just lift your knees up. 2, 3, 4. We're walking through the snow. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Excellent. I hope you had a wonderful snow day.
Thank you.
Sign me up.
Yeah, I'm so glad that this is being recorded. Only for us. It's only for us. And
No,
Shannon,
that's okay. This is, don't worry. It's everywhere I go.
Kim was smart. She moved away from her computer, but
It's a different angle here. I wasn't sure.
No, it's all good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So I just hope that everyone practices it a little bit in their day at meetings that are long.
Well, you know, we've been talking about I'm going to think of the wrong word, but healthy
Healthy meeting practices or guidelines, yep.
Yes, the 4-H healthy
Lifestyles.
Healthy Lifestyles, the HEAL PWT, is working on making some practices available and asked if we would make sure that those practices are shared throughout the system, because there's a lot of counties that do this regularly, but there's some counties that may have fallen out of practice. So, so you may see more of that coming. So thank you. I want to go back to one thing that was shared as we were talking, and I just think it's kind of funny. You know, when I reflect on the things that actually work, the practices that work in getting us to talk about things, and you know, you might consider it communication practices or marketing practices. Some of the things that are most unlikely to get attention and keep attention are the things that kind of maybe sticky, or people are not sure what to think about them, so they turn them over in their mind a lot. And so implicit bias comes to mind. We have talked about implicit bias and the implicit bias test probably more than anything else in PDLC so far. And as I was tracking everybody's progress through the topics, it's actually topic 3 that has almost everybody through it and badged. So interesting to me. I just think that's kind of, it might be interesting to you too, Eduardo.
Well, I have to tell you that the fact that it's gotten this much dialogue going, or this much response and feedback, I think it's wonderful. I think the fact that folks are curious about it, folks are curious about the research behind it, and beyond that, I think also kind of giving some thought to the potential impact of implicit bias on our work. I think it's a wonderful place to be.
Yeah. The information in there and the fact that it's an experience that we go through, I think also makes it a little sticky. Going through the test, gave everybody something to think about, as opposed to just a fact sheet, right? So, yeah, thanks for finding those interesting resources for us. All right, so the last thing on our agenda is updates. And this part, we might not have much to share today, and that's understandable because it's still all pretty fresh and new, and we're, starting to plow through some things. But this will be a regular feature of our meetings, and so right now, I'm planting a seed, and anybody who has something to share is welcome to. And if we don't have anything right now, that's okay. But I will be recruiting or looking for people to share, more formally say, yes, I would like to share where I am in my project, a couple of slides, or just talking about it, talking out loud, working out loud about the work that I'm doing. But this last part of our meeting is updates, and it's really intended for each of you to be able to share where you are and what you've done and who you've talked to. And again, it's that process of working out loud, thinking out loud about the work that you're doing. So with that, I'm going to just, I'm going to shush and see if anybody out there has some work that you would like to share on the project that you are working on for PDLC. Can be very informal.
Contribute. So I just talked to the my group, and I'm thinking of doing like a sampler day, a 4-H sampler day, instead of maybe a showcase, but having maybe like different workshops throughout the day that people can sign up for, card making, maybe even like pet showmanship, like science, STEM activities. So I thought that might be fun.
And probably more achievable than creating a fair.
Right.
Right? Where you are right now. So good. All right. My guess is that there's probably some good resources in from your colleagues, but also from what am I thinking of? National
4-H?
Extension, National 4-H, and the Extension, National Extension newsletter resources. Why can't I remember this?
E-extension?
No, I'm not thinking of the extension. Why can't you all just read my mind? Here, I'm gonna.
We usually do.
I know, right?
Do a few more words.
Yeah, I'm going to come back to this because I can't. Joe, yes, Journal of Extension.
Oh, okay.
Holy brain.
Sorry
My
about
poor
that.
little brain. Yes, thank you, Ingrid. Journal of Extension. Yes, so if you Google Journal of Extension and look for best practices for putting together sampler days and workshops, that's, you know, and just like in the Working Out Loud book, investing in some time to dig in a little bit and see what best practices are out there and what people are writing. Great. Thank you. Anybody else? Some work that you may have done on your project that you want to share?
This is Barb. I have only been back to work one day, but I did send a letter to all of the members of the Plain community, just sort of reaching out and saying that I, you know, would really like to connect more deeply with them, and what do they need, what kind of resources, linkages. I even said, like, if you need me to help source used equipment, you know, a friend of mine is selling hoop houses. I'm like, oh my gosh, that would be a great deal. But our Plain community aren't connected to Facebook and Craigslist and that kind of thing. Also, I just want to share with you that last week I stayed in a 1700s haunted room at an inn, but I found the treasure, but I did not have the ghost visit me that night. That was my big excitement.
Very cool. That is exciting.
Yeah, where was that?
Although you seem disappointed about not having a ghost visit.
Right, I kept waking up and looking for the orbs, or, you know, the scary thing is one person reported that she puts her hand on your cheek. I didn't want that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really interesting.
Very fun. And you're feeling better, it sounds like.
Yeah, finally, gosh. Yeah.
Good.
That's good. All right, great. Anybody else?
I guess I can throw something in there. So this last week we had a board meeting. Well, excuse me, we had an advisory committee meeting. So one of the things that I did was start proposing some of the ideas that we could do. I'm not completely set on the idea of doing a youth show yet or a youth fair. So I proposed it, and I mean, they were interested in that, or the idea of a summer camp. So after, you know, talking to them, it was decided to have our youth, we just had that brand new teen council formed in January. So they're actually going to vote on what we're going to do in February, the first week, so the 5th. That way the youth opinion is right there the entire time. So that way we're assessing the needs by having the kids pick what they actually want to do. And then I'll actually bring them into it, which was a suggestion by Heidi and Ingrid. So I think it'll be really helpful.
Good idea. Great. All right. Anyone else? I'm not going to put anybody on the spot, but I welcome your sharing.
I'll just share that I found the needs assessment part of topic 4 really helpful in thinking about who I can talk to and how to gather information, and that there's a lot of different possibilities, but seeing just concrete ways of breaking it down into some action steps of, okay, this is what I could gain from talking to these educators or these stakeholders, is feeling like a way to kind of navigate through what could be a whole lot of potential conversations and information gathering. So I found that really helpful. And it's helping to guide me as I go forward.
All right. Yeah. So any thoughts on what steps you might take to gather information?
Yeah, I mean, some of the terms were a little new to me, so I'm still kind of wrapping my brain around the distinctions between the two, but yeah, potentially a community forum with a CCE educator that I work closely with in CCE Erie County could be something to get to gardeners and like the end user side of things. And also the idea of information networks and figuring out the people and the resources currently available for different counties, you know, who's involved, what are county websites currently showing in terms of healthy soils and healthy gardening resources. You know, this is, as I'm saying it, it's still sounding a little nebulous. So there's a next step here of like making it even more specific of this is what I should do this week to.
Well, yeah, sounds good. Sounds like you're putting your finger on it. Even, right, just without asking, going in and seeing what CCE websites have, especially the CCE associations that are working on, have Master Gardener volunteer programs or educators that you're working with, just kind of peeking in from the outside to take rip the Band-Aid off a little bit and see what's really the approach and what's actually happening out there I think it's really helpful.
We were talking in our small group earlier that I know for myself, sometimes my tendency is to try to wait to have conversations until I have a whole plan mapped out. But I found what's more helpful is to just dive in and start doing it as long as you have something to say. And then from there, it can help to steer things rather than this, if you set the benchmark too high, then, you can lose a lot of weeks to just trying to figure out what to do if you're floundering and just need to hear from other people.
Yep. Took me a long time to figure that out. So good for you. Tiptoe in. Don't be afraid. I'll also mention you have a PWT, right?
Yes.
So you have a listserv that goes along with that program work team that might be useful to you?
Yeah, we haven't been using it, but the PWT isn't directly the focus of this work here, but it definitely dovetails really nicely with how we can use that structure to get at this overall goal of campus county connections. And that's certainly a mechanism for communication, and building our listserv and then actually using it is the goal, possibly part of this project too. So yeah.
Happy to connect with you if you'd like on how to do those things. So, very good.
That'd be great.
Anybody else?
And you see the note in the chat from
sorry.
Ingrid, encouraging Hannah to reach out to local organizations who might share the same mission. So Farm Bureau may be a source also.
Yeah, good idea, Ingrid. Thank you.
Yeah, and a shout out to Shared Work. It's awesome. I like that.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. So plan for it next time. Just know that when we meet, we will put some time aside for you to share with the greater. You might have some slides. You might show us a web page that you're working on. Whatever it is that you're doing. You'll be able to share in any way, and I think that's a good way to for us to encourage each other, so you can see how people are approaching their projects, and really kind of root each other on as we move forward. All right, so our next meeting is scheduled for the 12th of February from 10 to noon. I don't know, is there anybody here that's going to be in Syracuse for the opioid training during that time? No. Okay. Kim and Eduardo actually and I are going to be there, but we'll take our Zoom meeting from at least 2 out of 3 of us will take the Zoom meeting from our Syracuse location. So just wanted to check in about that. All right, 10 to noon is the next meeting, and the Zoom address I'll include it, of course, in the confirmation that's in our is in our or Outlook. Too many applications here. It's in our Outlook calendar, but it's always the same. It's always the same. So very good. All right, we're a little bit ahead of schedule, which isn't really a bad thing. Thank you guys so much for your attention today. And if you have any questions or anything, feel free to stay on and we'll work through them. All right. Thank you.
Good to see all of you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Stay warm, everyone.
Stay warm. Keep moving.
Kim and Celeste, I'm gonna sign off. I'm gonna try and find my webcam for our next call.
Okay, and we're
sounds
gonna
good.
move to the meeting room with Sarah.
All right. I'll see you in a bit.
All right.
So long, everyone.
Take care,
So long.
everybody.
I actually have a quick question about file sharing and organizational policy that came up during one of our small group discussions.
Okay.
So
Sure.
yes, so Jemmy was pointing out that there are restrictions for how CCE county associations use things like Google Drive.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I'm aware, those same restrictions are not applicable to campus. But and I know this is something I've run into with a collaborative team with a number of state agencies and other people involved, and sometimes access to certain things is limited. But I was just curious from your CCE administration standpoint, if there's anything I should be aware of about use of Google just for project notes and file storage and file sharing.
So that's why we use Box.
Okay.
You know, yes, I don't necessarily, I'm not going to pretend that I understand it. Google Drive is what I use for all of my non-CCE stuff, you know, my community work, because it feels more accessible to everybody. But there is a policy in place, and I thought it was Cornell-wide, but do you remember? But there's plenty of Cornell people that I work with that use Google Drive. So.
I don't think it is, because we log into Google and Google Drive. It's the only place I know of where we can log in with our NetID and our Cornell password without going to the Cornell page. So I presume that Cornell has some kind of agreement with Google that they're game to let us do that. So on campus, I don't imagine that it's an issue because of that, but I don't have any specific information.
Yeah. So Hannah, is your question about your team, or is it about just in general?
Well, I guess Jemmy just kind of raised the point this morning of like, just remember where some of us aren't using it and there's a policy that we shouldn't be. And I guess my understanding is that we have to be careful of when and how we use it because not everyone has access. But if there's a policy that on-campus extension staff are not supposed to be using Google Drive at all for work files, I definitely have forgotten that memo.
Yeah, and
So,
it would be good to know because
yeah, I guess that was kind of my
a lot
question.
of collaborators for work.
Right.
Right. I was already aware that sometimes there are access issues for particular organizations. I didn't actually realize that was an issue for CCE. I haven't run into that in particular. But
okay. Yeah,
I thought it was more around what's supported by the university, but it sounds like Google Drive may be more, at least within our IT group. Saying, use what's available and supported so that we don't have to.
That's or you're on your own. You know, that's kind of what our IT staff has said, because I've come about it in the sort of the same way that everybody has access to Google Drive, and it's students are using it to connect and collaborate and kind of what's the big deal, too. Right?
Yeah,
national
I've used
groups,
it.
and that's what they have said is, hey, if something goes wrong, we can't support you, but if you're using the supported resources, then then we can at least answer questions for you or whatever. So.
Okay, it's important to think about who and what.
Yeah,
I'm also wondering about the direction Jemmy's getting, maybe from an IT lead person who works with their systems, who likes to encourage, where there's other support beyond IT lead.
But
we don't necessarily need it for our project. We were just talking about our own projects and record keeping and data management and just tools that we were using ourselves.
It was a really useful conversation. Thank you, Hannah.
Yeah.
I had a question for Celeste.
I'm going to sign off. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Thanks, Hannah.
See you, Hannah.
would it be possible to get an agenda for the biweekly webinar, or do we already
I
have
did
one?
send one out.
You did. Okay, I probably searched for your name and didn't see it when I had.
Well, you know, it probably came from Moodle. It's in an email that goes out in announcements.
Right.
It also, you could also find it in announcements, right?
Yes,
if you go back to the Moodle.
Yes, if you go to, I'll show you where.
Are there theoretical deadlines for when we're supposed to get through certain modules? Are they there somewhere?
Yeah, they're in the syllabus. There are, there's kind of deadlines to help push people through. But, I just have found that people get too caught up in whether or not they can meet those deadlines. So that's why I don't spend an awful lot of time talking about those.
That's fine. I do understand. I just
yeah, in the syllabus there's a schedule.
Do you want to show it in Moodle?
Yeah, let me just show you from. Thank you, Kim.
It's there, and that's what somebody was suggesting. Put the deadlines within Moodle, and that's where we're thinking people might get a little more overwhelmed. But if you want to get things on your calendar or in your schedule as you're working through, I think
as long as I know where they are, I just had never seen them. And wasn't sure where they were.
So the announcements in
I see the announcements there.
Show up in the latest announcements, and they should theoretically get sent to email. It may end up in your clutter. I don't know. But you can train your clutter by just dragging things into
inbox.
Inbox, right. Oopsie. Syllabus. Sorry, I don't mean to be confusing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. We open up the syllabus, and I don't know if this is going to open for us or not. Let's see.
And I thought I was in Unit 3, but looking back, I see that there's at least one thing in Unit 1 that I didn't check the box on because I haven't watched that very first thing yet.
Oh.
And so hopefully I'll get some badges.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Do this, Gary. Knock it out of the park.
Right.
I like this too.
Let's see. Okay.
That's great.
All right.
Yep, it's coming up now. So
here
we can see
100%. One page. There we go. A little bigger.
Okay. Well, good. At least then I'll know where I'm supposed to be. That'll be very helpful.
Right.
Oh, that did make it bigger. There you go. That's where it is.
So the syllabus has a schedule on it with due dates.
All right. That's
okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great evening, afternoon, whatever.
All of the above, right?
All of the above.
Yeah.
We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Sounds good.
All right, Carrie.
Thanks, Carrie.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.